all of these ideas of I'm lonely, it's not normal for human beings to be alone, but it can be sometimes a part of, because they maybe have different frequency. Yet for us, naturally, it is natural to be a part of the whole. And this separation and loneliness have become a part of our reality only because they reflect our inner corruption.
Yes,
because they reflect our egotism.
This loneliness is the same as I wrote, no person who feels separate can end separation. You have to, this has to do with loneliness.
Absolutely. Because there is aloneness. Sometimes people are alone simply because they cannot relate to others by frequency, yet they would embrace the like-minded beings. At this point of time, there are a lot of human bodies, but all of these bodies vibrate differently because there are different streams of consciousness incarnate in the human form. And that's why certain frequencies have difficulty finding the like-minded frequencies. And so they end up being alone, not because of they are, you know, special but they just don't feel like. But loneliness is a sign of trauma. It's a feeling of incompleteness. And also, like you wrote here, coming from a notion of lack, or that we don't understand that this reality, this projection is an extension of our own being. And so we've been taken care of until now, and so we'll be taken care of further. Then you may say, but what about homeless people? Homeless people choose trauma over the effort, over the healing. They choose to go down with the victimization rather than roll up their sleeves and do something about it. Because when people strive, yes, there are situations that people give in temporarily to the trauma. And they may also turn out to be in a bad situation or homeless for a short while, but they still find a courage, strength to somewhat come out of that. But there are many other who choose to give in to addictions, to give in to pain. And so that lifestyle is just a reflection of their choice. You can help them, but it's only their own effort that can truly help them to come out. You can temporarily give them clothes and food and shower your kindness, but your kindness is not enough of a light to shift them, to choose to find that strength to overcome that trauma, because that trauma has been there for a long time, and it also has been fed for a long time. So it has gained that momentum and power that is very difficult to challenge. And each time or each year one spends there, it becomes more and more difficult to come out, because that trauma gains more and more energy and power. And the body eventually gives in. And so, but then you don't need to be homeless necessarily. There are people who have enough but are in constant worry, are sort of they live in fear. What if tomorrow I don't have? And so they don't go that homeless path, but they still drain themselves. They create digestive issues and other issues in their lives, conflicts, because of this fear. Again, when you restore your natural being, you're constantly in that sense of abundance. It's difficult to describe. And it doesn't matter what you have or don't have. That external possession does not define the sense of your abundance. That's why you feel like you have everything. You're taken care of. You're wealthy from within. You don't need external objects or people or anything to validate you or your true wealth. And if you have restored that true wealth, you simply cannot be poor. You simply cannot feel like you lack anything. You will always be fed. You will always have enough. Because poverty is a mentality. There are a lot of very wealthy beings who live in the poverty mentality, constantly being scared and afraid of not having enough, or what if they have losses, and this keeps them in bondage, that keeps on driving them towards more and more pursuit, which is greed. Greed is that sense of it's never enough, it's a black hole. Again, the same as narcissism, but narcissism is more of an emotional, energetic, mental vampirism. And greed is more of a tangible vampirism, physical matter vampirism, like not enough matter. And so very often people who have that feeling end up being obese as well, because they place the whole sort of sense of existence into food, into material possessions, into acquiring something. People who live with ease and letting go have healthier bodies and minds, because they understand that energy has to be always in circulation. It's like we cannot always have sunlight. We will have clouds and rains, sometimes winds. So there's a constant circulation. The same goes with our finances, with our, of course, this financial system is kind of a man-made creation. So it's not always according to the natural laws. But still, somewhat, we have to understand that the wealth is, the material wealth, I mean, is the reflection of our intelligence. It's the intelligence that creates whatever you have, because it focuses on it, it puts it effort, its emotional energy to it, and it gains what it needs to gain. But if it makes an effort, yet it has doubts and undercurrents, and these traumatic responses, which are holes, which drain the energy. So let's say you put 100%, but the trauma starts draining from within this 100%. Eventually it ends up being 20 and you receive 20 and you are dissatisfied. Self-doubt, inability to surrender, inability to trust, again, makes your 100% input worth of 20. Because most of the time, people do not succeed in life in anything, wherever they put their effort in. They do not succeed simply because there are these undercurrents, and these undercurrents are streams of energy which are negative, which need their focus, which need their conscious energy. So there's a self-doubt, lack of confidence, all of these, it comes from trauma. It's a traumatic response. Even when you finally found this strength to make an effort to do something, the trauma will start undermining that effort, will start taking that energy back into itself, to just validate itself, to prove itself that it's there. You see? So we can speak a lot about the 6 rules of Tilopa: do not imagine, do not think. It's impossible for the corrupt mind, it's impossible for a traumatized consciousness to be in that state. Because traumatized consciousness generates these thoughts. Because this consciousness needs to, first of all, recognize that these thoughts are the result of the corruption, that it is not normal for human beings to think, to be tormented by emotions, to live in pain, to age, to die so fast. It is not normal. It is simply the result of the corruption. And when we come to this awareness, we gradually start realizing that we have been living a lie, in illusion, and now we can gradually embrace this process of healing. But to embrace this process of healing means to constantly face one's corrupt self, that ego that wants to control, that wants to suck that energy, that wants to be validated, that needs to be something special, or even whatever something. Sometimes we choose, okay, I'm nothing, but it's still something. We want to be something or nothing. It is still being or looking for some sort of a tag, whether in the form of something or in the form of nothing. And until we realize that we are trapped, or to recognize these traps takes time, because once you're out of one trap, you're back into the other.
It's
yes.
ready.
Yes, until you come to the smooth path of refinement, it may take lifetimes. It's reality. Whoever wishes quick fixes just looks for another trap.
Yeah.
Period.